Close your eyes and let yourself drift into the depths of the lands between, to a place far beneath the surface world, where darkness is absolute and cosmic forces dwell in eternal silence. Tonight, we journey together into one of Elden Ring's most profound mysteries, the story of Astel, Naturalborn of the Void, a being born in lightless space, composed of stellar debris from distant dying stars. This is a tale that spans eons, connecting the ambitions of ancient civilizations to cosmic forces beyond mortal comprehension. It's a story of hubris and punishment, of stars falling like judgment from the heavens, and of the terrible price paid by those who dared to challenge the cosmic order. As you settle into comfort, let the weight of the day fall away, and allow yourself to be carried on this journey through time and space, through underground rivers and sealed cities, to the very heart of cosmic horror. Astel is not merely a boss encounter or an obstacle in your journey through the lands between. This entity represents something far more significant, a window into the cosmic mechanics that govern reality itself, a testament to powers that existed long before the Erdtree's golden light ever touched the world, and perhaps a warning about what happens when mortal ambition reaches too far into the stellar void. The creature dwells in the deepest places, far beneath the lake of rot, past the grand cloister where pale servants kneel in worship of their sealed god. The journey to reach Astel is itself a trial, requiring passage through waters that corrupt and transform, through coffins that carry you beyond the boundaries of the known world, into spaces where the very laws of reality begin to bend and break. But Astel was not always confined to these depths. Long ago, before it became a guardian of forbidden paths, before it settled into its current domain, this malformed star fell from the sky, bringing with it devastation that would reshape the course of history for entire civilizations. To understand Astel, we must first understand the cosmos from which it came, the civilization it destroyed, and the cosmic politics that necessitated its creation. We must journey back through time to an age when the eternal cities stood above ground, when the Nox civilization worshipped the stars with such devotion that they believed they could create their own stellar deity. Let yourself relax completely as we begin this exploration. There's no need to remember every detail, no test awaiting you at the end. Simply allow the story to wash over you like gentle waves, carrying you deeper into rest with each passing moment. The tale of Astel is long and winding, filled with cosmic wonders and ancient sorrows, and we have all the time in the world to explore it together. In the vast emptiness between stars, in places where no light has ever shone, and where the cold is absolute, something came into being. A malformed star, composed of many colored star debris from the remnants of dying stars scattered across the cosmos. Astel's title tells us much about its nature, Naturalborn of the Void. This phrase contains an interesting contradiction. How can something be both natural and born of the void? How can something formed from the remnants of dying stars be called naturalborn? The answer may lie in understanding that Astel represents a corruption of natural stellar processes, a star twisted from its intended form by cosmic forces with purposes all their own. The entity that became Astel is composed of many-colored star debris, each fragment carrying with it the compressed history of celestial bodies that had lived and died across incomprehensible spans of time. Fragments from different stars, pieces of cosmic history compressed into this singular being, drawn together in the lightless spaces between galaxies by forces we can only speculate about. Each of the multicolored orbs that make up Astel's scorpion-like tail may represent a fragment from a different star, a piece of cosmic history compressed into this singular being. When these orbs pulse with otherworldly light, they're not just glowing, they're emanating the fundamental forces that once held entire solar systems in their gravitational embrace. The void where Astel was born is not simply empty space. It's the absolute darkness between the islands of light that are galaxies, a place so remote and isolated that even cosmic observers would have no way to detect what was being created there. In these lightless depths, far from any sun's warmth, something fundamentally alien to terrestrial life was brought into being. We don't know for certain who or what created Astel, or even if it was deliberately created at all. The greater will is a possibility, that cosmic force which sent the Elden Beast to the lands between and established the Golden Order. But the true origins remain mysterious, lost in the lightless void where no observation is possible. What we can observe is that Astel appears to serve a specific purpose, functioning as if it were designed for cosmic judgment. Whether this was the result of deliberate creation or some other process, the entity acts as an instrument within the broader cosmic hierarchy. The humanoid elements in Astel's anatomy, the skull-like head, the human-like hands that end each of its 6 limbs, suggest an unsettling connection to mortal life. Were these features incorporated as a form of mockery, a way of ensuring that any humans who encountered Astel would immediately recognize their place in the cosmic order? Or do they represent something darker? The literal incorporation of mortal remains into the creature's cosmic structure. The skull that forms Astel's head is particularly disturbing in its implications. Through a crack in its surface, a large blue eye can be seen, the window to whatever consciousness drives this cosmic entity. Is this eye Astel's own, the seat of its alien intelligence? Or could the skull be a prison, containing the consciousness of someone who challenged the cosmic order and was punished by being incorporated into the very weapon that would enforce that order? These questions drift through the darkness like stellar dust, unanswerable but fascinating to contemplate. The mystery of Astel's creation is perhaps less important than understanding what it became, something that appears to have served as an instrument of cosmic judgment, a force that devastated those who dared to defy the established order of reality itself. The void that birthed Astel is not just a location, but a state of being. It represents the absolute absence that exists between the lights of creation, the fundamental nothingness from which something was deliberately called forth. When Astel creates its own voids during combat, summoning tears in reality that rain meteorites upon its enemies, it's drawing upon the fundamental nature of its birthplace. In the cosmic hierarchy revealed through Elden Ring's lore, we see different types of stellar entities. The Alabaster Lords and Onyx Lords arrived on meteorites in ancient times and eventually integrated into the world's civilizations, becoming teachers and mentors. The falling star beasts represent what might be an early larval stage of cosmic life, heavily armored creatures with powerful mandibles. The malformed stars hang from cavern ceilings, perhaps in a state of metamorphosis. And then there is Astel, potentially the apex form, the final evolutionary stage of this cosmic life cycle. Or perhaps something else entirely, a deliberate creation that exists outside the natural development of stellar entities. The comparison to terrestrial insects, particularly antlions, is illuminating. These earth creatures begin as heavily armored larvae with prominent mandibles before transforming into winged adults. The falling star beasts share this heavy armor and mandible structure, while Astel possesses translucent wings and a more developed form. The parallel suggests that cosmic life may follow developmental patterns not entirely unlike terrestrial evolution, despite occurring across unimaginable distances and time scales. But there's something uniquely terrible about Astel that sets it apart from other cosmic entities. Where the Alabaster Lords teach and share knowledge, where falling star beasts simply exist as part of the cosmic ecology, Astel was made for destruction. Its every feature, from its gravitational mastery to its void manipulation, speaks to a singular purpose: the annihilation of those who defy cosmic authority. Let yourself imagine that vast darkness between stars, that absolute cold and silence where Astel came into being. There's something almost peaceful about it in a way. The complete absence of sound, of light, of warmth. Just the slow drift of cosmic debris, gathering according to forces beyond human comprehension, taking shape in the darkness, waiting for the moment when it would be cast toward a distant world like a meteor of judgment. Long before the Erdtree's golden light dominated the lands between, before the Golden Order established its rule, there existed a civilization devoted to the night sky and the stars that adorned it. These were the Nox, and they built cities of such grandeur that even in ruin, thousands of years later, they inspire awe in those who discover them. The eternal cities Nokrun, Noxtella, and the one that would lose even its name once stood above ground, their towers reaching toward the stars their builders worshipped. These weren't simple settlements but architectural marvels that reflected a deep understanding of both terrestrial construction and cosmic principles. Within these cities stood massive stone chair crypts that seated giant maidens, structures whose purpose we can only guess at now. Were these thrones for rulers who transcended mortal scale, ritual sites for cosmic ceremonies? The silent stone offers no answers, only the weight of ancient purposes long forgotten. The Nox were not merely stargazers engaged in passive observation. They were cosmic engineers manipulating forces that most civilizations wouldn't dare to touch. Their devotion to the starry night sky was not worship in any traditional sense. It was active engagement with cosmic mechanics, an attempt to understand and ultimately control the forces that governed reality from beyond the atmosphere. Central to their work were the Silver Tears, one of the most fascinating entities in all of Elden Ring's lore. These beings are composed of liquid metal, capable of taking any form they observe. Imagine creatures of flowing silver, able to reshape themselves perfectly into the likeness of any living thing, copying not just appearance but function and capability. The Silver Tears weren't just curiosities to the Nox. They were tools, perhaps even the key to their greatest ambition. Through these malleable creatures, the Nox experimented with the very nature of life and form. If a being could be anything, could take any shape, then perhaps it could also embody cosmic principles. Perhaps it could become something greater than any naturally evolved life form. This experimentation extended to creating artificial dragons. The dragonkin soldiers found in the eternal cities are pale imitations of the ancient dragons that once ruled the skies. Born in subterranean chambers beneath false stars, these creatures knew no true sky and no true lightning. Instead, they wielded ice lightning, a cold approximation of the red lightning that true dragons commanded. The item descriptions tell us these dragon soldiers never attained immortality and perished as decrepit, pale imitations of their skyborn kin. This failure didn't deter the Nox. It only drove them to more ambitious experiments. If they couldn't replicate the ancient dragons perfectly, they would create something else, something new, something that had never existed before. The Nox's ultimate ambition becomes clear when we piece together various fragments of lore. They were attempting to create their own lord, a being that would usher in an age of stars, replacing the cosmic order established by the greater will with their own stellar deity. This wasn't mere rebellion against earthly authority. This was cosmic treason of the highest order. The Nox weren't simply refusing to acknowledge the greater will's rule. They were attempting to supplant it entirely, to prove that cosmic authority could be manufactured rather than received, that mortals could create gods rather than merely serve them. To support this blasphemous work, the Nox developed weapons and tools that demonstrated their advanced understanding of cosmic mechanics. Their silver weapons were forged from the liquid metal of Silver Tears, able to mimic other forms. Their knowledge of gravity magic rivaled anything that would later be developed at the Academy of Raya Lucaria. But their most significant creation, the artifact that would symbolize their ultimate transgression, was the Fingerslayer Blade. This weapon is described as the hidden treasure of the eternal city of Nokron, a blade said to have been born of a corpse. The description calls it a blood-drenched fetish that serves as proof of the high treason committed by the eternal city. The blade's most significant property is stated plainly in its description. It is said to be able to harm the greater will and its vassals. Here was a weapon forged specifically to wound cosmic forces that governed reality itself. The Nox had not just challenged the established order, they had created the means to actually fight against it. Imagine the hubris required for such an undertaking. To look up at the cosmos, to understand the vast powers that shape reality from beyond the stars, and to say, "We can do better. We will create our own cosmic order." It's a level of ambition that inspires both admiration and horror. The Nox civilization at its height must have been extraordinary. Their cities gleamed under artificial night skies studded with false stars. Their workshops hummed with the energy of cosmic experimentation. Silver tears flowed through their streets, taking forms according to the needs of their creators. Dragonkin guards patrolled their walls, wielding ice lightning against any who would threaten the great work. In their laboratories and ritual chambers, Nox researchers worked tirelessly toward their grand vision. They studied the nature of life and consciousness, seeking to understand what made a being capable of cosmic authority. They analyzed the patterns of stellar movement, looking for the principles that governed cosmic order. They experimented with the Silver Tears, attempting to shape these formless entities into a vessel worthy of godhood. How close did they come to success? We'll never know for certain, but close enough that the greater will felt threatened. close enough that a response was deemed necessary, close enough that simply banishing them underground wasn't sufficient punishment. The Nox had libraries filled with cosmic knowledge, observatories that tracked stellar movements with incredible precision, and forges where impossible weapons were crafted from liquid metal and fallen stars. They had created a civilization that existed at the intersection of terrestrial achievement and cosmic ambition. But for all their knowledge, for all their power, for all their understanding of stellar mechanics and cosmic forces, they had made one critical error. They had assumed that their understanding of the stars meant they could predict what would come from the void beyond those stars. Let yourself drift through these ancient cities as they might have been in their glory. Imagine walking streets illuminated by soft starlight, past buildings that reached toward the heavens, through plazas where silver tears danced in fountains of liquid metal. Feel the ambient hum of cosmic energies being channeled and shaped. The excitement of a civilization on the verge of achieving something unprecedented in all of cosmic history. They waited for their Lord of Night, who would usher in the Age of Stars. They believed their cosmic engineering would succeed where natural evolution had failed. They thought themselves the architects of a new cosmic order. They had no idea what was already falling toward them through the darkness. To understand the magnitude of the Nox's transgression, we must first understand the cosmic order they challenged. The greater will, that fundamental force which governs reality in the lands between, had established a hierarchy that extended from the earthly realm up through the stars themselves. The Golden Order, manifest through the Elden Ring and enforced by the Erd Tree, represented the terrestrial expression of this cosmic authority. But the greater will's influence extended far beyond any single world. It shaped the movements of stars, determined the fundamental laws that governed reality, and maintained the cosmic balance through mechanisms that mortal minds could barely comprehend. The Nox's attempt to create their own lord represented a direct challenge to this entire system. They weren't just building a powerful being. They were attempting to establish an alternative source of cosmic authority, to prove that divinity could be manufactured rather than received from above. The Fingerslayer Blade stands as the most concrete evidence of their intentions. This weapon, born of a corpse and drenched in blood, is said to be able to harm the greater will and its vassals. Its very existence was an act of defiance against the cosmic order. But the blade was just a tool. The real threat lay in what the Nox were building. A lord crafted from silver tears, a being that would embody their cosmic ambitions and usher in an age where the stars, not the Golden Order, would determine the fate of the world. The cosmic response to this challenge would be swift. If the Nox succeeded in proving that cosmic lords could be manufactured, it could undermine established hierarchies. Other civilizations might follow their example. The balance of cosmic forces could shift in unpredictable ways. The transgression wasn't just about power, it was about the fundamental question of cosmic legitimacy. Did authority flow from the greater will alone, or could it be claimed through knowledge and engineering? Were gods born from cosmic forces beyond mortal influence, or could they be created in laboratories and ritual chambers? The Nox believed they knew the answer. They had studied the stars for generations, accumulated knowledge that most civilizations couldn't even imagine, developed technologies that blurred the line between magic and science. They had created artificial dragons, mastered liquid metal beings, forged weapons said to be capable of harming cosmic entities. Surely, they thought, such achievements proved their worthiness to shape cosmic order. Surely their understanding of stellar mechanics qualified them to create their own lord. Surely the cosmos would accept what they built as legitimate. But from a cosmic perspective, the Nox may have been manipulating forces they didn't truly understand, no matter how sophisticated their technology or profound their knowledge. They had learned to work with cosmic forces without perhaps grasping the deeper principles that governed their use. And they had done so not in cooperation with the cosmic order, but in defiance of it. Their lord, if successful, would have represented an alternative authority, a rival source of cosmic power. The punishment that followed would need to match the transgression. Simply destroying the Nox wouldn't be sufficient. Other civilizations might see them as martyrs and continue their work. What came next would be so terrible, so absolute, that it would serve as a warning to all who might consider similar blasphemy. Whether by the greater will's design or some other cosmic mechanism, Astel appeared. We cannot know for certain whether the malformed star existed before arriving at the Eternal Cities, or whether it was brought into being specifically for this purpose. What we do know is that Astel was perfect for the task. A being composed of star debris, capable of manipulating gravitational forces, able to create voids and rain down meteorites. It was cosmic judgment made manifest, a walking reminder of the vast powers that the Nox had dared to challenge. The irony is striking. The Nox worshipped the stars, devoted their entire civilization to understanding and harnessing stellar forces. Yet they would be destroyed by a malformed one, arriving from the void they could never predict. Their punishment would come from the very heavens they revered. The stars they had studied so carefully would send forth the agent of their doom. The cosmic forces they had sought to control would demonstrate, in the most visceral way possible, that they were not yet ready for such power. Perhaps if the Nox had approached the greater will differently, if they had sought cooperation rather than replacement, things might have ended differently. Perhaps if they had shown proper humility, if they had acknowledged the limits of their understanding, even as they pushed those boundaries, they might have been tolerated or even embraced. But they chose defiance. They chose to forge weapons against cosmic authority. They chose to create their own lord rather than accept the one the greater will provided. And for these choices, they would pay a price that would echo through millennia. As you drift deeper into rest, imagine the moment when cosmic forces aligned against the Nox. Somewhere in spaces beyond mortal comprehension, their fate was sealed. Whether through deliberate judgment or cosmic consequence, Astel began its long fall toward the lands between, carrying with it the doom of an entire civilization. Despite the Nox's deep knowledge of the fate foretold in the stars, despite their mastery of stellar observation and cosmic divination, Astel appeared suddenly. The malformed star, born in the lightless void beyond the reach of any telescope or celestial calculation, arrived without warning. Imagine the confusion and terror as the first meteorites began to fall. The Nox, masters of stellar mechanics, would have immediately turned their instruments to the sky, seeking to understand this unprecedented celestial event. What they saw must have frozen their blood. Not a natural meteor shower, not a wandering asteroid that could be predicted and avoided, but a coordinated bombardment, each impact precisely calculated, each strike designed to maximize destruction, and at the center of it all, descending through the atmosphere, came Astel itself. The entity's arrival would have been devastating beyond mortal comprehension. Meteorites of many colors raining down, each one potentially a piece of a different dead star, each carrying energies that terrestrial matter was never meant to encounter. The Nameless Eternal City, whichever of the three was struck first, would have mobilized its defenses. Dragonkin soldiers took to the air, ice lightning crackling from their Mars. Nox warriors raised weapons forged from silver tears. Valiant gargoyles, crafted from the corpse wax of fallen champions, stirred from their eternal watch and prepared for battle. But what could mortal defenders, no matter how skilled or well-equipped, do against a cosmic weapon? Astel's gravitational mastery alone would have been devastating. Warriors found themselves lifted into the air by irresistible forces, then slammed back to the ground with bone-crushing impact. Buildings shuddered and collapsed as localized gravity wells tore them apart from within. The creature's laser beam, that precise cutting tool of cosmic destruction, swept across the city like a scythe through wheat. Towers that had stood for millennia were toppled in seconds. Fortifications designed to withstand sieges by terrestrial armies were meaningless against attacks that came from angles that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. And then the voids opened. Tears in reality itself, windows into the lightless spaces between stars from which Astel had been born. Through these voids poured genuine meteorites, stellar debris pulled from across vast cosmic distances and hurled at the city below with the force of cosmic judgment. The meteorite of Astel sorcery we can obtain in the game is but a pale echo of this original assault. Imagine hundreds or thousands of such voids opening simultaneously, each one raining down stellar destruction, the sky itself becoming a weapon turned against the city. The Nox's sophisticated understanding of cosmic mechanics may have actually made their suffering worse. They understood exactly what was happening to them. They recognized the forces being deployed against their city. They knew that they were facing a level of cosmic engineering that exceeded anything they had achieved, despite all their experiments and research. Their weapons, even the mighty Fingerslayer Blade, were useless. You cannot harm what you cannot reach, and Astel manipulated space itself, teleporting across the battlefield, always out of reach, always attacking from unexpected angles. The creature fought with a strategic intelligence that suggested conscious malice rather than simple instinct. The devastation wasn't limited to physical destruction. The full horror of Astel's assault became apparent as the battle raged. The creature wasn't just destroying the city, it was taking away their sky. However this was accomplished, whether through some cosmic manipulation that literally removed the celestial canopy, or through destruction so complete that no observation of the heavens was possible, the result was the same. The Nox, who had devoted their entire civilization to the stars, found themselves severed from the very thing that defined their existence. The artificial night sky that had hung over the Nameless Eternal City, studded with false stars that had guided the Nox for generations, was shattered. Some sources suggest the black moon that once hung there was broken into memory stones, fragments of cosmic memory scattered across the ruins. Imagine the psychological impact of this loss. For the Nox, the stars weren't just objects of study. They were the foundation of their entire worldview, the source of their knowledge, the inspiration for all their achievements. To have the sky torn away was like having their collective soul ripped out. The city's population, those who hadn't been killed in the initial assault, fled in panic. The underground rivers that had connected the eternal cities now became escape routes as survivors abandoned their homes, their research, their dreams of creating a Lord of Night. The Dragonkin soldiers, those pale imitations of ancient dragons, fought to the last. Unable to flee, unable to surrender, they stood their ground against an enemy they couldn't hope to defeat. Their bodies would later be found in the ruins, frozen in postures of defiance, testaments to courage in the face of cosmic horror. The valiant gargoyles, animated by whatever sorcery the Nox had devised, continued their protection protocols even as the city crumbled around them. Some of them still remain, thousands of years later, guarding ruins and corpses, their programming unable to comprehend that everything they were made to protect is long dead. The Silver Tears, those liquid metal beings that had been central to the Nox's experiments, lost cohesion without the direction of their creators. Some fled into the depths. Others simply dispersed, their liquid metal spreading across the ruins like quicksilver tears for a civilization's death. The assault continued for hours, perhaps days. Astel was thorough in its destruction, systematic in its eradication of Nox civilization. Every tower was toppled. Every laboratory was burned. The accumulated knowledge of generations, the research that had brought the Nox to the brink of creating their own lord, was reduced to ash and rubble. And when it was over, when the last building had fallen, and the last defender had perished, when the city lay in complete ruin, beneath a sky that no longer existed, Astel descended into the depths. Whether by design or by nature, the creature made its way down through underground waterways, past the grand cloister, to the realm beneath the lake of rot. There it would remain, a cosmic guardian in the darkness, a warning to all who might discover the ruins above. What came from the stars had brought devastation. The blasphemy of the Nox had ended in their ruin. The ruins of the Nameless Eternal City would sink slowly into the bog of milky white liquid that accumulated in the deep-root depths. The city that had once stood proud above ground, reaching toward the stars it worshipped, would be swallowed by the earth, buried under the roots of the very Erd tree whose cosmic order it had challenged. Let yourself feel the weight of this destruction as you sink deeper into rest. An entire civilization, generations of accumulated knowledge, centuries of achievement, all erased in a matter of hours by a cosmic weapon beyond their ability to comprehend or resist. The Nox had reached for the stars and found only darkness waiting to pull them down. To truly understand Astel, we must examine the creature itself The physical form that houses cosmic consciousness, the anatomy that enables such devastating power. What we see when we encounter Astel in the depths is both fascinating and disturbing in equal measure. The entity possesses a vaguely insectoid body, immediately calling to mind terrestrial arthropods, while simultaneously being utterly alien. The comparison to insects, particularly scorpions, is Astel's tail, is comprised of those many colored orbs, arranged in a segmented pattern reminiscent of a scorpion's curve. This tail flows behind the creature as it moves, each orb pulsing with stellar light, creating a hypnotic display of cosmic energy made visible. The creature has 6 limbs, each ending in distinctly human-like hands. These appendages are perhaps the most unsettling aspect of Astel's anatomy. The hands possess 5 fingers each, marking them as recognizably humanoid despite their context. When Astel reaches for you in combat, attempting to grasp and pull you into itself, these hands move with disturbing deliberation, almost tender in their precision. What do these human elements mean? Are they mockery, a way of showing the Nox that their human ambitions would be crushed by cosmic forces wearing the shape of humanity? Are they trophies, literal incorporations of victims consumed by the creature during its assault on the Eternal City? Or are they something stranger, evidence of Astel's hybrid nature, something between cosmic force and terrestrial life? The skull that forms Astel's head deepens this mystery. It's clearly humanoid in structure, though larger than any normal human skull. Through a crack in its surface, we can see a large blue eye, the seat of Astel's consciousness, the window to whatever alien intelligence guides this cosmic entity. Is this skull Astel's own head, grown or shaped into this form, or might it serve another purpose entirely? One possibility is that the skull could be a monument to the Nox's defeat, though we cannot confirm this. The humanoid structure raises questions that remain unanswered, adding to the mystery of what Astel truly is. The eye itself is remarkably large, luminous blue, and clearly aware. When Astel looks at you in combat, there's an intelligence there that transcends simple predatory focus. The creature studies its opponents, analyzes their tactics, adapts its strategies. This is not a mindless force of nature, but a conscious entity capable of thought and decision. Astel possesses translucent wings, delicate structures that seem impossibly fragile for supporting the creature's mass. These wings shimmer with an inner light, and when Astel moves, they create patterns in the air that hurt to look at too closely, as if the creature is moving through dimensions that mortal eyes aren't equipped to perceive. The mandibles extending from the skull are another insectoid feature, large and capable of terrible strength. We see Astel use these in its grab attacks, clamping onto victims before pulling them into its core. The mandibles serve both practical and symbolic purposes, practical for feeding or absorbing biomass, symbolic of Astel's nature as a cosmic predator. The many colored orbs that comprise Astel's tail are perhaps the most cosmically significant aspect of its anatomy. Each orb appears to be a fragment of a different star, compressed stellar matter containing the fundamental energies that once powered solar systems. These aren't mere decorations or energy storage. They represent Astel's very composition, the stellar debris from which it was assembled. When these orbs pulse and glow during combat, they're not simply powering Astel's attacks. They're emanating the fundamental forces of stellar physics, gravity wells, nuclear fusion energies, cosmic radiation. Each orb is a miniature star compressed to impossible density, held in check by whatever cosmic engineering created Astel in the first place. The creature's size is deceptive. Astel is enormous by human standards, yet when you encounter it in its lair, there's a sense that what you're seeing is somehow compressed, that the entity extends into dimensions beyond the 3-dimensional space it appears to occupy. The gravitational distortions surrounding Astel support this interpretation. Space itself warps in the creature's presence. Astel's coloration is itself noteworthy. The many colors of its stellar orbs create a rainbow effect, but these aren't colors in any natural spectrum. They shift and change as you observe them, sometimes appearing to be colors that don't have names, wavelengths of light that shouldn't be visible to human eyes. The creature moves with an unsettling grace despite its size. When it walks on its 6 limbs, There's an almost delicate quality to its movements. When it teleports, the transition is seamless. One moment it's there, the next it's elsewhere, with barely a ripple in reality to mark the change. In combat, Astel demonstrates abilities that confirm its cosmic nature. The laser beam it fires is not simple energy projection but concentrated stellar power, the kind of radiation that would be emitted by dying stars. The gravitational manipulations are not tricks or illusions, but actual warping of space-time, creating localized gravity wells that pull enemies into the air or slam them into the ground. The voids that Astel creates during its most powerful attacks are perhaps the most terrifying demonstration of its abilities. These are genuine tears in reality, openings into the lightless spaces between stars from which the creature itself was born. Through these voids come meteorites, not conjured projectiles but actual stellar debris, pulled from across vast cosmic distances and hurled at enemies with devastating force. When Astel manifests its full power, the ceiling of its domain transforms, becoming transparent or simply ceasing to exist as a barrier. What appears beyond is not the cavern roof or the surface world above, but actual space, the cosmic void with its swirling nebulae and distant stars. Astel is literally opening windows into outer space, breaching the dimensional barriers that separate terrestrial reality from the cosmos beyond. The creature's apparent intelligence is evident in how it conducts combat. Astel doesn't simply attack mindlessly, it studies opponents, identifies patterns, adapts tactics. It uses teleportation strategically, appearing behind enemies or at range as situations demand. It varies its attack patterns to prevent adaptation. It demonstrates frustration when attacks miss and something like satisfaction when they connect. This intelligence raises profound questions about Astel's consciousness. Does it possess genuine self-awareness? Does it understand what it is and what it was created for? Does it have desires or goals beyond the directives it was presumably given? When we encounter Astel in the depths beneath the Lake of Rot, is it guarding the path to the Moonlight Altar because it was ordered to, or because it has developed its own reasons for preventing access? The creature's isolation in the depths suggests loneliness. Unlike the Alabaster Lords who gather in small communities, or the falling star beasts that seem to travel in pairs, Astel exists alone. Its hybrid nature combining cosmic and terrestrial elements may make it incapable of relating to either fully cosmic or fully terrestrial beings. When you defeat Astel, the creature doesn't simply die. It dissolves, its stellar matter dispersing, the orbs that comprised its tail scattering like beads from a broken string. The skull remains longest, that humanoid element persisting even as the cosmic components fade. The eye closes last, the blue light dimming gradually, suggesting that whatever consciousness resided there is slowly departing. From the creature's remains, weapons can be crafted: bastard stars and the wing of Astel. These artifacts retain echoes of Astel's power, capable of channeling gravitational forces and creating stellar phenomena. That the creature's abilities can be transferred to mortal-crafted weapons suggests that Astel's power is somehow embedded in its physical structure, not purely mystical or divine. Let yourself visualize this cosmic being as you drift towards sleep, the many-colored orbs pulsing with stellar light, the translucent wings catching dimensions of light that shouldn't exist, the humanoid skull with its blue eye watching, always watching, with an intelligence that transcends mortal understanding, the hands reaching, grasping, with disturbing human-like precision. Astel is beautiful and terrible in equal measure, a work of cosmic engineering that represents both the heights of what can be achieved and the depths of what can be created when power is divorced from mercy. The journey to reach Astel is itself a story worth telling, for the path to the cosmic destroyer leads through some of the most dangerous and meaningful locations in the lands between. To find Astel, one must first navigate the treacherous Lake of Rot, a body of scarlet corruption that stands as one of the most hostile environments in the entire game. The Lake of Rot is not natural water, but accumulated divine essence of decay. It's said that the divine essence of an outer god is sealed away in this lake, the god having been defeated by a blind swordsman wielding a flowing blade. This detail is crucial. The Lake of Rot serves as both prison and testing ground, a place where defeated cosmic forces are contained. The waters themselves are intensely hostile to life. Standing in them causes rapid buildup of scarlet rot, a corruption that eats away at health until nothing remains. To cross the lake requires either extreme haste, protection through items and incantations, or careful navigation of the platforms that rise from the corrupted waters. The environment around the lake reflects its nature as a realm of decay. Strange formations of hardened rot create alien landscapes. The air itself feels wrong, thick with spores and corruption. Light behaves strangely here, filtered through the accumulated contamination, until everything takes on a sickly reddish hue. Yet there is life of a sort. The kindred of rot, creatures adapted to this hostile environment, make their home here. Some appear to worship the sealed god, kneeling before scorpion stingers and statues in the grand cloister that stands at the lake's edge. These beings have been shaped by prolonged exposure to divine decay, their forms twisted into something that can survive in conditions that would kill most living things in minutes. The grand cloister itself is a structure of great significance. It serves as a temple complex for the defeated rot god, a place where the faithful continue their worship, even though their deity has been sealed away and rendered powerless. The architecture here is distinct from anything else in the lands between ancient, predating the Erd Tree, built according to principles that seem designed to accommodate the corrupt waters rather than resist them. Within the grand cloister, we find the scorpion stinger, described as a sacred relic of the sealed outer god. This weapon, fashioned from a great scorpion's tail and glistening with scarlet rot, represents the physical remains of cosmic power. Just as Astel can be crafted into weapons after defeat, so too has this outer god left behind tangible artifacts of its existence. The parallel between the sealed rock god and Astel becomes apparent when we consider their locations. Both are cosmic forces that were defeated and contained in the depths. Both remain as guardians or prisoners in realms of isolation. Both represent threats to the cosmic order that were neutralized, but not completely destroyed. This parallel suggests that Astel's presence here may not be coincidental. Perhaps the creature was deliberately stationed near the Lake of Rot to guard against the sealed god's potential return. Or perhaps Astel, like the rock god, is itself a kind of prisoner too dangerous to allow freedom, too useful to completely destroy. To reach Astel from the grand cloister requires finding a specific coffin, one of those strange burial vessels that serve as transit systems between different realms in the lands between. Entering this coffin and allowing it to carry you represents a symbolic death, a willing burial that transitions you from one state of being to another. The coffin descends through waterways and passages that seem to exist outside normal geography. You're carried deeper and deeper, beyond the Lake of Rot, beyond any mapped location, into spaces that feel liminal, existing between places rather than as destinations themselves. When you emerge, you find yourself in Astel's domain, a cavern of impossible proportions. The space here defies normal physics. The ceiling is lost in darkness that may open directly onto the void between stars. Strange crystalline formations jut from the walls, their surfaces reflecting light that seems to come from no discernible source. The very air feels different here, charged with gravitational forces, making movement feel dreamlike and unreal. Sound travels strangely, sometimes echoing endlessly, sometimes disappearing entirely into vacuum-like silence. The sense of isolation is absolute. You have descended beyond the world, into a space that exists at the intersection of multiple dimensions. This is where Astel dwells, in darkness and isolation, surrounded by the traces of cosmic forces that leaked from its stellar body over uncounted years. The creature has been here so long that its presence has fundamentally altered the nature of local reality. When you first see Astel in this domain, the creature often appears at a distance, its form barely visible in the gloom. Then it opens with that devastating laser beam, announcing its presence with concentrated stellar power that cuts across the impossible space like a line of judgment. The arena where you fight Astel is both perfectly suited to the creature's abilities and deeply unsettling to terrestrial consciousness. The floor is relatively flat, but seems to extend beyond what the lighting should allow. The walls, when visible, show strange patterns that might be natural rock formations or might be something else entirely. Above, that ceiling of darkness that occasionally transforms, becoming transparent or simply ceasing to exist, revealing genuine outer space beyond. When Astel summons its full power, when it opens those voids and calls down meteorites, the boundary between this cavern and the cosmic void seems to dissolve entirely. The isolation of this domain serves multiple purposes. It ensures that Astel cannot accidentally threaten surface civilizations. So Pogrove, but a elf, round us all the light path thou and frozen civilizations, ditherady, thou in Surrey condolences as thus civilizations, It provides a final test for those seeking access to the Moonlight Altar, only those who can navigate the Lake of Rot and overcome cosmic horror in the depths are qualified to proceed, and it maintains Astel in a kind of cosmic quarantine, separated from both terrestrial and stellar realms. But there's something else here too, something harder to define. The domain feels old, not just in years but in cosmic time. Astel has been here so long that its presence has soaked into the very stone, imprinting this space with stellar energies that will persist long after the creature itself is gone. The journey to reach Astel, through rot and corruption, through symbolic burial, into depths that exist beyond mapped reality, serves as preparation for what you'll encounter. By the time you face the cosmic destroyer, you've already been transformed by the journey, already adapted to environments hostile to normal life, already proven your ability to persist where most would perish. The Lake of Rot and the path beyond it are not mere obstacles, but an initiation process, transforming those who complete the journey into something capable of confronting cosmic forces. You enter as a tarnished seeking power or answers. You emerge from the coffin as something else, someone who has willingly descended into the realm between realms and returned. And there, in the darkness that existed before stars, in the isolation that persists after civilization's fall, waits Astel, patient and eternal, ready to test whether you have truly earned the right to proceed. Let the image of that descent carry you deeper into rest, the coffin closing around you, the sensation of movement through impossible spaces, the emergence into darkness lit by stellar orbs, the moment when you first see that blue eye open in the shadows and realize that something vast and ancient has turned its attention to you. To understand Astel's broader cosmic context, we must turn our attention to Starscourge Radahn, the general who conquered the stars themselves. Radahn's story intersects with Astel's in ways that reveal much about the cosmic threats that constantly press against the lands between. Radahn, one of the mightiest demigods to walk the earth, was not content with terrestrial conquest. His ambitions extended beyond the ground beneath his feet to the celestial spheres above. But his war against the stars was not mere megalomania. It was a defensive action against cosmic invasion. The general understood something that most didn't. The stars were not just distant lights in the sky, but potential invasion routes for entities like Astel. Each falling star could be a weapon, each meteorite a cosmic entity arriving to threaten or conquer. The falling star beasts, the onyx and alabaster lords, and malformed stars like Astel all represented threats that came from beyond the atmosphere. Radahnn's mastery of gravity magic was the key to his cosmic defense. But where did this power come from? The answer is both ironic and illuminating. One of the alabaster lords became Radahn's mentor, teaching him the gravitational techniques that he would later use to hold back the stars. The alabaster lords are themselves cosmic entities, being said to have risen to life when meteors struck the earth in ancient times. They were born from falling stars, yet they chose to integrate into terrestrial civilization rather than conquer it. Some became teachers, sharing their knowledge of gravity magic with worthy students. Radahn learned well. The gravitational techniques studied by the young warrior collapsing stars, gravity well, rock sling gave him mastery over forces that could pull down or push back celestial bodies. But Radahn took these teachings further than his mentor perhaps intended, using gravity magic not just as combat technique, but as cosmic engineering on a massive scale. At some point during or after the shattering, Radahn performed his greatest feat. He halted the motion of the stars themselves. Not all stars, perhaps, but those that posed threats to the lands between. The falling star beasts waiting to descend, the malformed stars ready to crash into the world, the onyx and alabaster lords seeking to arrive, all were held in stasis by Radahn's gravitational field. The general description tells us he alone holds Keelid secure and stands tall to shatter the stars. This wasn't metaphor but literal truth. Through continuous application of gravity magic, Radahn maintained a cosmic barrier that prevented stellar entities from reaching the surface. The energy required for this must have been enormous, draining Radahn continuously, perhaps contributing to his eventual deterioration. But he maintained his cosmic vigil even as scarlet rot consumed his body, even as his mind degraded from the disease, even as he was reduced to a shambling remnant of his former glory. When the Tarnished defeats Radahn, either independently or as part of Ranni's questline, the consequences are immediate and far-reaching. The gravitational field that had held back the stars collapses. All those meteorites, all those cosmic entities, all those falling stars that had been restrained suddenly resume their motion. One of these falling stars lands in Limgrave, creating a crater that opens access to the underground, and specifically to Naturalborn, Eternal City. This single impact reshapes the landscape, creating a massive hole that leads down to the ruins of the civilization that Astel destroyed. But this is just one meteor among many. How many others fell when Radahn's hold broke? How many cosmic entities reached the lands between after being held back for years or decades? The game shows us only a few immediate consequences, but the implications are staggering. Radahn wasn't just holding back inanimate rocks. The descriptions explicitly call these stars. And elsewhere we learn that beings like Astel are also referred to as stars. Astel is described as an ill omen, connecting it to the stellar fate and omens that Radahn was restraining. This suggests that what Radahn held back were not just physical objects but conscious entities, cosmic beings like Astel who were prevented from reaching the world. If Radahn restrained hundreds or thousands of potential Astels, then his defeat may have doomed the lands between to eventual cosmic invasion. The irony of Radahn's situation is profound. The mighty general who conquered the stars and held cosmic forces at bay was ultimately brought low not by cosmic enemies, but by scarlet rot, a terrestrial affliction inflicted during his battle with Malenia. The same scarlet rot whose outer god is sealed in the Lake of Rot, near Astel's domain. There's a cosmic poetry to this. Radahn, who protected the world from stellar threats, was defeated by divine decay. His fall would release the very cosmic forces he had spent his strength restraining. The protective barrier would collapse, and the stars, those stars that are actually cosmic entities, would fall like rain. For Ranni's questline, Radahn's defeat is necessary. The star that falls and opens the way to Naturalborn allows access to the Fingerslayer Blade, an essential component of Ranni's plan. But this practical necessity comes at enormous cosmic cost. Opening one path means opening many. Releasing one star means releasing them all. Radahn's relationship with gravity magic and his cosmic vigil reveal how terrestrial and cosmic forces can interact. He learned from cosmic entities, the Alabaster Lords, how to combat other cosmic entities, the falling stars. He used stellar knowledge to defend against stellar threats, demonstrating that understanding can be as powerful as raw strength. But his ultimate failure, if we can call his defeat after such a prolonged vigil a failure, also demonstrates the limits of individual power against cosmic forces. Even the mightiest warrior, the conqueror of stars, cannot hold back the cosmos indefinitely. Eventually, exhaustion or defeat comes, and the stars resume their ancient patterns. The gravitational magic that Radahn mastered connects directly to Astel's abilities. Both manipulate the fundamental forces that bind reality together. Both can create gravity wells, warp space, control the movement of objects across vast distances. The difference lies in scale and origin. Radahn learned these techniques through study, while Astel embodies them as fundamental aspects of its cosmic nature. When we face Astel in its domain, we're confronting forces similar to those Radahn once mastered. The gravitational manipulations, the meteorite summons, the ability to affect space itself, these are cosmic abilities that Radahn once used to protect the world. Now we must overcome them to proceed on our journey. The weapons we can obtain from Radahn after his defeat, his armor, his swords carry echoes of his gravitational mastery, but their terrestrial interpretations of cosmic power, filtered through human understanding and limited by mortal capacity. Compare these to the weapons crafted from Astel's remains, which retain their cosmic nature more directly. This difference highlights a crucial distinction. Radahn channeled cosmic power through human agency, while Astel embodies cosmic power in its very structure. One learned to use stellar forces, the other is made of stellar forces. Both are formidable, but their natures are fundamentally different. The relationship between Radahn's cosmic defense and Astel's cosmic offense creates an interesting symmetry. If Radahn had encountered Astel during his prime, would the outcome have differed from our own confrontation? Could the Star Scourge have scourged this particular star, adding it to his cosmic tally? We'll never know, but the question itself reveals how individual cosmic encounters fit into broader patterns of cosmic conflict. Radahn, the Tarnished, the Nox, Ranni all are participants in struggles that extend far beyond personal ambition into cosmic politics and stellar warfare. As you drift towards sleep, imagine Radahn standing beneath the stars, hands raised, gravitational fields extending upward to create an invisible barrier against cosmic invasion. Feel the constant pressure of all those falling entities, the continuous drain of maintaining such enormous magic. Picture the moment when his power finally fails, when the stars resume their motion, when cosmic forces long held at bay begin their descent once more. Radahn held back the night sky itself. His defeat released it. And among those countless stars falling toward the world, how many more Astels waited in the darkness? Astel's final role in the cosmic drama of the lands between comes through Ranni's questline, where defeating the creature becomes essential for achieving one of the game's most significant endings. But why must the lunar princess turned witch overcome the very weapon that destroyed those who shared her cosmic ambitions? Ranni's goals echo those of the ancient Nox in striking ways. She seeks to establish an age of stars, to become a god who will take the Elden Ring far from the lands between, to create a new cosmic order based on stellar rather than terrestrial principles. Her ambitions mirror what the Nox attempted, the very thing that may have brought Astel to their cities. Yet Ranni approaches this cosmic challenge with greater wisdom than her predecessors. Where the Nox sought to replace the greater will through force and engineering, Ranni works through subtlety and alliance. She doesn't attempt to create her own lord from silver tears, but instead transforms herself, becoming the vessel for cosmic authority. The Fingerslayer Blade, that artifact of Nox rebellion found in Nokron's ruins, becomes a crucial component of her plan. This weapon, born of a corpse and soaked in the blood of cosmic treason, allows her to slay her own two fingers, severing her connection to the greater will's direct authority. But possessing the blade and using it is only the beginning. To truly achieve cosmic ascension, to establish her age of stars, Ranni must prove herself capable of overcoming the obstacles that destroyed the Nox. She must demonstrate that her cosmic ambitions will not suffer the same fate as theirs. This is where Astel enters the equation. The creature guards the path to the Moonlight Altar, the location where Ranni's ultimate destiny awaits. Whether Astel was deliberately positioned there by cosmic forces or simply exists as a natural obstacle, the result is the same. Access to the altar requires defeating this cosmic force. The test is both practical and symbolic. Practically, Astel's defeat clears the path forward. Symbolically, it proves that Ranni and her chosen champion, the Tarnished, can overcome the very forces that annihilated the last civilization to challenge the cosmic order. There's profound irony in this confrontation. The Nox were destroyed by Astel for attempting to create their own stellar deity. Now someone else with similar ambitions must defeat Astel to achieve success where the Nox failed. The malformed star that devastated their civilization becomes the final test for those who would challenge cosmic authority. Ranni's approach differs from the Nox's in crucial ways. She doesn't work alone but recruits powerful allies, including the Tarnished, who ultimately faces Astel. She doesn't attempt to force cosmic transformation but follows a specific path, gathering necessary components, completing required rituals, building toward her goal methodically. Most significantly, Ranni's Age of Stars doesn't seek to replace the cosmic order within the lands between, but to remove the Elden Ring from the world entirely. She speaks of taking the ring far beyond the sight of the lands between, and establishing her order at a great remove, where it won't directly threaten the existing cosmic hierarchy. This subtle distinction may be what allows her to succeed where the Nox failed. Instead of direct confrontation with cosmic authority, she proposes cosmic separation, a new order in a new realm, leaving the old order intact in its own sphere. It's revolution through departure rather than replacement. The dark moon that Ranni serves adds another layer to her cosmic aspirations. The Nox had their black moon that was shattered into memory stones. Ranni has her dark moon, associated with cold and distance, with removal from terrestrial concerns. The lunar imagery connects her to the Nox's stellar focus while distinguishing her approach through different celestial symbolism. The ring that the Tarnished must provide to Ranni obtained through trials at the Academy of Raya Lucaria represents the synthesis of academic knowledge and practical experience. Ranni's path requires both scholarly understanding of cosmic mechanics and proven ability to confront cosmic forces directly. When you defeat Astel as part of this questline, you're not just removing an obstacle but completing a cosmic education. The journey through the Lake of Rot, the descent beyond mapped reality, the confrontation with this cosmic force serve to prepare the Tarnished for their role in Ranni's cosmic transformation. The moonlight altar that becomes accessible after Astel's defeat is itself significant. This is where Ranni's corporeal form rests, where her quest reaches its culmination, where the Age of Stars can finally be initiated. The altar exists at a liminal space, neither fully terrestrial nor fully cosmic, perfect for the transition Ranni seeks to undergo. In her ending, Ranni speaks of making the world's order eternal, without dark, of removing the certainties of sight, emotion, faith, and touch by keeping them far, far away. This is cosmic governance from a distance, authority that doesn't directly impose itself on daily life. It's perhaps the only form of stellar rule that could be established without triggering the kind of response that destroyed the Nox. The comparison between Ranni's success and the Nox's failure provides important lessons about cosmic interaction. The Nox approached cosmic authority with hubris, believing their understanding of stellar mechanics made them qualified to replace the existing order. They forged weapons against cosmic forces and attempted to manufacture divinity through technological means. Ranni, in contrast, shows humility in her approach. She acknowledges the power of existing cosmic authorities even as she seeks to establish her own. She works through proper channels, however subversively, completing the tasks required, following the paths laid out, until she's in position to make her move. Most importantly, she doesn't claim that her order will be better or more just than what exists. She simply offers an alternative, a different approach to cosmic governance that some might prefer. The choice to follow her ending is presented as exactly that. A choice, not the obvious correct path. The defeat of Astel in this context becomes a graduation ceremony of sorts. By overcoming this cosmic force, the Tarnished proves their qualification to participate in cosmic decisions at the highest level. They demonstrate that mortal determination, when properly directed and supported, can triumph over stellar might. This victory matters not because it removes a threat, though it does, or provides power, though it does, but because it establishes legitimacy. Ranni's Age of Stars will not be imposed through deception or achieved through luck. It will be claimed through proven ability to confront and overcome the very forces that enforce cosmic order. The weapons crafted from Astel's remains, bastard stars, and the wing of Astel become symbols of this cosmic legitimacy. They transform the power that once served the greater will into tools that serve the Tarnished, and by extension, Ranni's cosmic vision. The conversion of cosmic authority from one allegiance to another is made literal in these artifacts. When you finally reach the Moonlight Altar, when you participate in Ranni's transformation and commit to her Age of Stars, the journey through Astel's domain remains a crucial component of that achievement. You couldn't have reached this point without proving your cosmic worthiness through that confrontation. The Age of Stars that results represents not the Nox's vision realized, but something new, a cosmic order that learned from their failures, that approached stellar authority with greater wisdom, that understood the lessons written in the ruins of the Nameless Eternal City. Astel, which devastated the Nox's attempt at an Age of Stars, becomes the final test for the successful establishment of a different stellar age. The cosmic poetry of this transformation is profound. What may have served as an instrument of cosmic judgment becomes the proving ground for cosmic legitimacy. Let yourself drift with this understanding as sleep approaches. The Nox reached for the stars and were struck down. Ranni learned from their example, adapted their ambitions, and found a path that led through rather than around cosmic resistance. And Astel, patient in the darkness, waited to test whether this new approach to stellar authority would prove more viable than the last. The Age of Stars awaits beyond Astel's domain. But first, the weapon of stellar judgment must acknowledge, through its defeat, that a new cosmic order has earned the right to exist. When you face Astel in its domain beneath the Lake of Rot, you're engaging with forces that exist beyond normal combat parameters. This is not a battle against a powerful creature, but a confrontation with cosmic principles made manifest. Every attack, every movement, every strategic choice represents an interaction between terrestrial determination and stellar power. The arena itself shapes the encounter. That vast cavern with its impossible dimensions creates an environment where normal spatial reasoning fails. Distances are deceptive. What appears close may require long approach. What seems distant may be within immediate reach. The floor is level but seems to extend infinitely in some directions while feeling cramped in others. Above, that ceiling lost in darkness that occasionally reveals genuine outer space, complete with swirling nebulae and distant stars. When Astel summons its full power, this cosmic vista becomes weapon platform, raining meteorites down from what appears to be actual space rather than mere projection. The battle typically opens with Astel at distance, barely visible in the gloom. Then comes the laser, that cutting beam of concentrated stellar power that announces the creature's presence and establishes its capacity for ranged devastation. This opening shot serves multiple purposes. It deals immediate damage if you're unprepared. It demonstrates Astel's awareness of your presence, and it sets the tone for a battle where distance provides no safety. As you close with the creature or it teleports closer, you begin to experience the full range of its cosmic arsenal. The gravitational manipulations manifest in multiple forms. Astel can create localized gravity wells that pull you into the air, suspending you helplessly before slamming you back down with crushing force. These gravity effects don't just move you through space. They warp space itself, creating brief distortions where the laws of physics seem to bend. The creature's grab attacks are particularly terrifying, not just for their damage potential, but for what they represent. When Astel's human-like hands close around you, when those mandibles approach your suspended form, you're experiencing what countless Nox might have felt in their final moments. The creature doesn't simply kill, it draws victims into itself, potentially incorporating their essence into its cosmic mass. The teleportation adds another dimension of tactical complexity. Astel doesn't just move through space, it appears to fold space, stepping between distant points without traversing the distance between. One moment it's before you, the next it's behind, the transition so seamless that you barely register the change before the next attack begins. But it's the void creation that truly demonstrates Astel's cosmic nature. When the creature summons these tiers in reality, these windows into the lightless spaces between stars, you're witnessing power that transcends normal magic or sorcery. These are actual dimensional breaches, openings through which genuine meteorites from distant cosmic regions rain down upon the battlefield. The meteorite of Astel sorcery, which you can obtain by bringing the creature's remembrance to Enya at the Round Table Hold, is described as being crafted from a relic of Astel and as being one of the glintstone sorceries that manipulates gravitational forces. When cast, it summons a void that emits a hail of meteorites, a pale echo of the power Astel wielded to destroy the Nameless Eternal City. Each phase of combat reveals new aspects of Astel's capabilities. The creature adapts its tactics based on your approach. If you maintain distance, It closes with teleportation and grab attacks. If you fight at close range, it creates space with area effects and gravity manipulations. The intelligence guiding these tactical decisions is evident. This is not pattern repetition but active strategy. There are moments during the battle where Astel seems to study you, where its attacks pause and that blue eye focuses with particular intensity. The creature is learning, analyzing, adapting its cosmic power to counter-terrestrial tactics. It's fascinating and terrifying in equal measure. The environmental effects during combat add to the cosmic atmosphere. When Astel summons meteorites, the ceiling truly seems to open onto space. Strange lights play across the cavern walls. The air crackles with gravitational distortions. Reality itself feels thin here, as if the barrier between this cavern and the cosmic void is more permeable than it should be. Sound behaves strangely during the encounter. Some of Astel's attacks are accompanied by sounds that hurt to hear, not just loud but wrong, frequencies that seem to bypass ears and resonate directly in bone and brain. The creature's movements create subtle distortions in ambient noise, reality rippling as it passes. Your weapons and magic interact with Astel in ways that reveal both its cosmic nature and its surprising vulnerabilities. Physical weapons can harm it, suggesting that despite its stellar origin, the creature is bound to material reality while present in this realm. Magic affects it normally, indicating that cosmic power isn't immune to terrestrial sorceries. Bleeding and poison effects work against Astel, which seems almost absurd given the creature's nature. A being composed of stellar debris and void energy can be made to bleed and suffer from toxins. Yet this vulnerability may reveal something profound about Astel's hybrid nature. The humanoid elements aren't just aesthetic. They represent genuine biological components that bring terrestrial weaknesses along with whatever capabilities they provide. The battle is exhausting both physically and mentally. The constant need to track Astel's position through teleportation, the requirement to read its attacks and respond appropriately, the gravitational effects that make even simple movement challenging all combine to create an encounter that tests both reflexes and endurance. But there's also something almost meditative about the fight once you understand Astel's patterns. The creature's movements, for all their alien nature, follow consistent principles. The teleportation isn't random but tactical. The attack patterns vary but within predictable parameters. Understanding emerges through repetition, and with understanding comes capability. When you finally land the killing blow, when Astel's health depletes and the creature begins to dissolve, there's a moment of strange melancholy. This being, whether consciously or not, has served as guardian of this space for untold years. Its defeat represents not just your victory, but the end of its long cosmic vigil. The stellar orbs that comprised its tail scatter and fade. The translucent wings dim and collapse. The humanoid skull with its blue eye remains longest, that core of consciousness persisting even as the cosmic components disperse. When the eye finally closes, when that blue light dims to darkness, you're witnessing the end of something that has existed since stars were young. The rewards for this victory reflect both its practical and symbolic significance. The remembrance provides 80,000 runes if consumed, a substantial sum reflecting the challenge overcome. Or it can be exchanged for the bastard star's flail, or the waves of darkness, ash of war, tangible pieces of Astel's power, converted into forms that mortals can wield. Bastard stars is particularly interesting. The flail is formed from the same many-colored star debris that comprised Astel's body. Its weapon skill, Nebula, creates a swirling vortex of stellar energy that mirrors the creature's own cosmic manipulations. Wielding this weapon is like carrying a fragment of Astel's essence, channeling the power that once destroyed the Eternal City into whatever purposes you choose. The waves of darkness, ash of war, can be applied to various weapons, allowing them to release shock waves of dark energy. This ability transforms ordinary armaments into instruments of cosmic force, extending Astel's power across multiple weapon types and builds. The Wing of Astel, purchasable from Enya, represents another aspect of the creature's abilities. This curved sword, fashioned from one of Astel's delicate wings and imbued with stellar magic, demonstrates that even the most fragile-seeming parts of the cosmic entity contain tremendous power. These rewards are more than just strong equipment. They're proof of cosmic victory, evidence that a mortal warrior was able to confront stellar power and emerge triumphant. Each time you wield bastard stars or channel waves of darkness, you're demonstrating that cosmic forces can be understood, defeated, and repurposed to serve terrestrial ends. The empty cavern after Astel's defeat feels different. The oppressive weight of cosmic presence has lifted. The gravitational distortions have normalized. Light behaves normally again. But traces remain. The space has been permanently altered by the creature's long residence, imprinted with stellar energies that will persist long after all memory of the battle has faded. Standing in that transformed space, surrounded by the slowly dissipating remnants of cosmic power, you've completed a journey that few undertake and fewer survive. You entered the depths beneath the lake of rot as a tarnished seeking power or answers. You emerge as someone who has faced cosmic horror and prevailed, who has proven themselves capable of contending with forces from beyond the stars. The path to the Moonlight Altar now stands open. Ranni's quest can continue toward its cosmic conclusion, but the battle with Astel has changed you in ways both obvious and subtle. You carry pieces of Astel's power. You've internalized lessons about stellar combat and cosmic principles. You've proven, to yourself and to whatever cosmic forces might be watching, that mortal determination can triumph over stellar might. Let the memory of that confrontation carry you deeper into rest. The vastness of the impossible cavern, the many-colored orbs pulsing with stellar light, the blue eye watching with alien intelligence, the moment when cosmic power met terrestrial resolve, and the outcome was decided not by inherent advantage but by skill, preparation, and refusal to yield. You defeated Astel, Naturalborn of the Void, and in doing so, you achieved something that entire civilizations failed to accomplish. You overcame the weapon of cosmic judgment and lived to claim its power as your own. The existence of more than one Astel raises profound questions about the nature of these cosmic entities and their role in the broader stellar ecosystem. Beyond the Naturalborn of the Void encountered beneath the Lake of Rot, another specimen known as Astel, Stars of Darkness, can be found in the Yelar Annex tunnel in the consecrated snowfield. This second Astel presents both similarities and differences to the first. The core anatomy remains consistent. The insectoid body, the many-colored stellar orbs, the human-like hands, the skull with its blue eye. The combat capabilities are nearly identical, suggesting that these entities share fundamental characteristics, regardless of their individual designations. But the titles differ meaningfully. Naturalborn of the Void versus Stars of Darkness. These aren't just poetic variations, but potentially significant distinctions. Does each title reflect different origins, different purposes within cosmic hierarchy? Or are they perhaps different developmental stages of the same type of entity? The possibility that Astel is a title rather than a personal name is worth considering. Perhaps all entities of this type, all malformed stars born in the void that arrived in the lands between, are designated as Astels. In this interpretation, we're not encountering the same being twice, but two examples of a type of cosmic entity. Alternatively, Astel might represent a kind of distributed consciousness, a single stellar intelligence manifested across multiple physical forms. This would explain why both entities share the name while operating in different locations. They could be like fingers of the same hand, distinct appendages of a unified cosmic awareness. The location of the second Astel is significant. The Yelar Annex tunnel near the consecrated snowfield places this entity close to Miquella's Haligtree and the path to Melania. This positioning could suggest strategic placement, both Astel's guard routes to locations of great significance. The Naturalborn of the Void blocks the path to the Moonlight Altar, while Stars of Darkness stands near the Haligtree. This pattern raises questions about whether their placement is coincidental or deliberate. If deliberate, who has the authority to position such cosmic entities? The Greater Will seems a likely candidate, but other cosmic powers might also be involved. Or perhaps Astels simply gravitate toward locations of cosmic significance for reasons of their own. The existence of multiple Astels supports the interpretation of these entities as part of a broader cosmic ecology rather than unique individuals. Just as there are multiple falling star beasts and numerous alabaster and onyx lords, there may be many Astels cosmic entities of a particular type, created or evolved according to similar processes, serving similar functions within the cosmic hierarchy. This cosmic ecology appears to follow certain patterns. The falling star beasts represent early or larval stages, heavily armored, aggressive, but relatively simple in their tactics. The malformed stars hanging in caverns might be intermediate forms, undergoing metamorphosis in dark spaces. The Astels would then be apex forms, fully developed cosmic predators with sophisticated abilities and apparent intelligence. The comparison to terrestrial insect life cycles, particularly antlions, becomes even more relevant when considering multiple Astels. Just as antlion populations consist of many individuals all going through similar developmental stages, cosmic entity populations might consist of numerous examples of the same basic type at various points in their life cycle. But the Astels seem more advanced than other stellar entities in ways beyond just power. The apparent intelligence, the strategic thinking, the deliberate positioning as guardians, these suggest a level of consciousness or direction that simple cosmic predators wouldn't possess. Either the Astels have developed sophisticated intelligence through cosmic evolution, or they're being directed by higher cosmic powers. The relationship between Astels and other cosmic entities reveals much about stellar hierarchy. The alabaster and onyx lords, despite their own impressive powers, seem to exist at a different level than the Astels. The lords integrate into civilizations, teach students, develop philosophical traditions. The Astels remain isolated, alien, incapable of or unwilling to engage in such terrestrial interactions. This difference might reflect fundamental distinctions in cosmic nature. The lords arrived naturally, products of standard stellar processes. The Astels were born in the void, potentially created or evolved in the absence of light and warmth. These different origins might produce fundamentally different types of consciousness. The lords chose integration. They learned terrestrial languages, understood mortal concerns, adapted to life under gravity and atmosphere. The Astels remained apart, existing as isolated forces, interfacing with terrestrial reality only through confrontation or obstruction. Yet both types of entities share certain capabilities, particularly gravitational manipulation. This shared power base suggests common cosmic origins even if their developmental paths diverged. All stellar entities seem to derive fundamental abilities from their connection to cosmic forces, gravity, meteorites, stellar energies. The question of whether more Astels exist beyond the two we encounter is fascinating to contemplate. If Radahn was holding back the stars, preventing cosmic entities from reaching the lands between, how many Astels were among those restrained forces? When his gravitational field collapsed, did more of these malformed stars fall to Earth? The game shows us only two, but the lore implications suggest there could be many more. Each one could serve as guardian for a significant location, weapon against cosmic threats, or simply as cosmic predator, following incomprehensible alien instincts. The variation in titles Naturalborn of the Void versus Stars of Darkness might indicate specialization within the Astel type. Perhaps some are born for destruction, others for guardianship, others for different cosmic functions we haven't yet encountered. The unified name would indicate shared nature, while the varied titles would reflect different roles or capabilities. This interpretation opens possibilities for understanding cosmic organization. Rather than being chaotic or random, stellar entities might follow complex hierarchies and specializations. The falling star beasts could be soldiers or workers. The alabaster lords could be scholars or diplomats. The Astels could be weapons or guardians, all serving within a larger cosmic system whose full scope we can barely glimpse. The implications for the lands between are significant. If multiple Astels exist, and if more could potentially arrive, the world faces ongoing cosmic threats that dwarf most terrestrial conflicts. The gods and demigods squabbling over the Elden Ring may be missing larger dangers lurking in the spaces between stars. Radahn understood this, which is why he dedicated himself to cosmic defense. His war against the stars wasn't megalomania but necessary protection. By holding back entities like Astel, He was preventing disasters that could make the shattering seem insignificant by comparison. His defeat and the release of the stars may have consequences that haven't fully manifested yet. We see one star fall and open the way to Nokron. We encounter 2 Astels in specific locations. But how many other cosmic entities have reached the surface? How many other locations are now threatened or guarded by stellar beings? The academic implications of multiple Astels are also worth considering. If specimens can be studied, compared, analyzed, the understanding of cosmic mechanics could advance significantly. The weapons crafted from Astel remains provide some insights, but detailed study of intact entities could reveal far more about stellar physics and cosmic biology. The Nox would have been fascinated by this opportunity. Their entire civilization was devoted to understanding stellar forces, and here are entities literally composed of stellar debris. The irony is profound. The weapon that destroyed them for attempting to create a cosmic lord could have, if approached differently, taught them far more about cosmic nature than any amount of experimentation with silver tears. But knowledge of Astel came too late for the Nox and comes at great cost for anyone else. Each Astel encountered represents a fight to the death against overwhelming cosmic power. There's no negotiation, no academic study while the entity lives, only combat, and then perhaps analysis of whatever remains. This violent necessity reflects broader patterns in cosmic interaction. Unlike the Alabaster Lords who chose to teach, the Astels exist only as threats or obstacles. Their nature or programming prevents peaceful contact. Every encounter must end in destruction, either yours or theirs. The psychological impact of knowing multiple Astels exist cannot be understated. One cosmic horror lurking in the depths is disturbing enough. Multiple such entities, potentially many more yet undiscovered, creates an atmosphere of cosmic dread. The stars above aren't just distant lights but potential sources of incomprehensible threats. Yet this knowledge can also inspire. If multiple Astels can be defeated, if such cosmic forces can be overcome, and their power claimed, then perhaps the cosmos itself isn't as overwhelming as it appears. Perhaps terrestrial life, for all its limitations, possesses qualities adaptability, determination, creativity, that can contend with stellar might. The weapons crafted from multiple Astels would stack their powers, allowing warriors to wield capabilities drawn from defeated cosmic entities. Each victory adds to terrestrial cosmic understanding, building toward a time when the gap between earthly and stellar power narrows. In the grand scope of cosmic time, the appearance of multiple Astels in the lands between might represent a critical moment, a convergence, where terrestrial and cosmic forces interact at unprecedented scale, where the outcome of these interactions will shape the future relationship between ground and stars. As sleep deepens, let yourself float among these cosmic possibilities. Multiple Astels scattered across reality, each a window into stellar mechanics and cosmic purpose. Each defeat a lesson, each victory a step toward understanding forces that exist beyond normal comprehension. The stars are not empty lights but populated spaces, filled with entities both wondrous and terrible, and the lands between sits at a cosmic crossroads where these forces converge. The complete story of Astel, Naturalborn of the Void, is ultimately a story about cosmic integration, the challenge of bringing together terrestrial and stellar consciousness, mortal ambition and cosmic power, earthly determination and forces from beyond the stars. The Nox failed at this integration. Their approach was fundamentally flawed, attempting to replace cosmic authority rather than understanding and working with it. They sought to manufacture a god through technological means, to prove that mortal engineering could create what cosmic evolution had produced naturally. Their punishment through Astel demonstrated the catastrophic consequences of this approach, but their failure taught lessons that others could learn from. Ranni's success, where the Nox failed, shows that cosmic integration is possible if approached with proper wisdom. She didn't attempt to replace existing cosmic forces but worked through and around them, building alliances, gathering necessary components, following paths that, while subversive, operated within certain cosmic rules. Radahn's example shows another path. using cosmic knowledge gained from stellar entities, the Alabaster Lords, to defend terrestrial interests. He didn't seek to become a cosmic forces through terrestrial determination. His gravitational magic allowed him to contend with stars themselves while remaining fundamentally human. The Tarnished's journey, culminating in victory over Astel, represents yet another form of integration. By defeating such cosmic forces and claiming their power, mortals can incorporate stellar forces into terrestrial frameworks. The weapons crafted from Astel's remains demonstrate this integration, literally cosmic power bound into forms that humans can wield. Each of these approaches offers insights into how terrestrial and cosmic forces might successfully interact. The key seems to be balance, neither attempting to remain purely terrestrial while ignoring cosmic realities, nor trying to become purely cosmic while abandoning terrestrial identity. The Alabaster and Onyx Lords who chose to become teachers represent perhaps the most successful cosmic integration. They maintained their stellar nature while adapting to terrestrial existence, sharing their cosmic knowledge while learning from mortal perspectives. This mutual exchange enriched both parties without destroying either. Compare this to Astel's isolation and alienation. The creature exists between cosmic and terrestrial realms without truly belonging to either. Its hybrid nature cosmic body with humanoid elements creates something that can operate in terrestrial space, but never truly integrate with terrestrial life. The loneliness and isolation of this existence may be profound. The lesson might be that successful integration requires genuine exchange rather than domination. When cosmic entities impose themselves through force, as Astel did, integration fails and only destruction results. When terrestrial civilizations attempt to force cosmic transformation, as the Nox did, the response is equally destructive. But when exchange is mutual and respectful, when both parties approach the interaction with openness to learning and changing, integration becomes possible. The Alabaster Lord's teaching Radahn represents this successful model. Cosmic knowledge shared willingly, terrestrial student learning eagerly, both benefiting from the exchange. The weapons crafted from Astel's remains represent a different kind of integration, recycling cosmic power into terrestrial forms. Rather than attempting to use cosmic forces in their original form, they're adapted and shaped to suit mortal capabilities. This transformation makes stellar power accessible while acknowledging the fundamental differences between cosmic and terrestrial existence. The academic study of cosmic phenomena, as practiced at the Academy of Raya Lucaria, represents another integration path. By studying gravitational forces, stellar movements, and cosmic mechanics through terrestrial methods, scholars build understanding that bridges the gap between earthly and stellar perspectives. These glintstone sorceries, meteorite of Astel, collapsing stars, gravity well are terrestrial interpretations of cosmic principles. They work with stellar forces rather than trying to become them. This indirect approach may be more sustainable than direct attempts at cosmic transformation. The psychological integration required for cosmic interaction should not be underestimated. When you face Astel in combat, you're not just fighting a powerful enemy, but confronting an embodiment of cosmic indifference. The creature doesn't hate you, or even particularly care about you. You're simply an obstacle to be removed, a challenge to be overcome. This cosmic perspective, where individual lives matter little compared to universal principles, is fundamentally alien to human psychology. We're built to value individual existence, to see ourselves and others as significant. Cosmic consciousness, operating at stellar scales across eons, may not share these values. Integrating these perspectives requires expanding consciousness to accommodate both viewpoints. You must understand your own insignificance in cosmic terms while simultaneously maintaining the conviction that your actions matter. This paradox is difficult to hold but essential for cosmic interaction. The journey to reach Astel prepares you for this psychological integration. Crossing the lake of rot requires accepting corruption and transformation. Descending in the coffin requires symbolic death and rebirth. Emerging in Astel's domain requires adapting to a space where normal reality rules don't fully apply. Each step expands your consciousness, preparing you for the cosmic encounter ahead. By the time you face Astel, you've been transformed through this journey, You're not the same person who entered the Lake of Rot. The experiences have integrated aspects of cosmic perspective into your terrestrial consciousness, creating a hybrid awareness capable of contending with stellar forces. This transformation may be the true reward for defeating Astel, more valuable than the runes or weapons obtained. You emerge from the encounter with expanded consciousness, capable of perceiving and interacting with cosmic forces in ways that were previously impossible. The Age of Stars that Ranni proposes might represent the ultimate form of cosmic integration, a reality where terrestrial and stellar consciousness coexist without one dominating the other. Her vision of keeping her order far away suggests recognition that different forms of consciousness may need their own spaces while maintaining connections. This separation with connection model might be the most sustainable form of cosmic integration, rather than forcing terrestrial and cosmic existence into direct contact, which seems to always result in violence. Create distinct realms that can interact through controlled channels, allow trade and communication without requiring complete merger. The cosmic ecology revealed through multiple Astels and other stellar entities suggests that the universe already operates according to this model. Different types of cosmic consciousness exist in their own spheres: the void where Astels are born, the stellar spaces where alabaster lords originate, the terrestrial realms where humans develop. Conflicts arise when boundaries are crossed without proper preparation or respect. The Greater Will's cosmic order might be an attempt to manage these boundaries, to prevent destructive conflicts between different forms of consciousness. The Nox's transgression was crossing boundaries without authorization, attempting to bring cosmic forces into terrestrial realm in ways that threatened the managed balance. From this perspective, Astel's punishment of the Nox wasn't merely revenge or domination, but enforcement of necessary boundaries. The weapon was deployed not to crush mortal ambition per se, but to prevent a specific type of boundary crossing that could destabilize larger cosmic systems. Understanding this doesn't make Astel's destruction of the Eternal City any less tragic, but it provides context for why such extreme measures might have been deemed necessary by cosmic authorities. The individual tragedy of the Nox must be weighed against potential universal catastrophes that their success might have triggered. This interpretation also explains why Ranni's approach succeeds where the Noxes failed. She works within the boundary management system, however subversively, completing required steps, gathering necessary components, proving her cosmic worthiness through trials including the defeat of Astel. Her Age of Stars is authorized, in a sense, through successful navigation of cosmic requirements. The weapons and abilities gained from defeating Astel become tools for managing future cosmic interactions. Each item carries knowledge, not just power, but understanding of how cosmic forces operate, how they can be engaged with, how terrestrial and stellar existence can interact productively. Wielding Bastard Stars teaches gravitational principles through practical application. Using Meteorite of Astel's sorcery builds understanding of void manipulation. Each employment of these cosmic tools deepens integration, building bridges between different forms of consciousness and capability. The ongoing nature of this integration process is important to recognize. Defeating Astel once doesn't complete cosmic education, it begins it. Each subsequent encounter with cosmic forces, each new application of stellar knowledge, each expansion of consciousness into cosmic perspectives continues the integration process. This lifelong, or perhaps beyond life, journey toward cosmic understanding mirrors the journey toward rest and sleep you're experiencing now. Just as full cosmic integration is never entirely complete, full rest is a process of continuous deepening rather than a single moment of achievement. Let yourself continue sinking into that deeper rest, carrying with you the lessons of cosmic integration, the understanding that different forms of consciousness can coexist, the recognition that bridges can be built between incompatible perspectives, the knowledge that terrestrial determination can contend with stellar might when properly directed. Astel's story, for all its cosmic horror and ancient tragedy, ultimately offers hope. It demonstrates that cosmic forces can be understood, engaged with, and even overcome. The gulf between human consciousness and stellar awareness is vast, but not unbridgeable. Integration is possible, though it requires wisdom, patience, and willingness to be transformed by the process. As we drift toward the end of this cosmic journey, it's worth reflecting on what Astel's complete story reveals about the nature of power, consciousness, and the relationship between terrestrial and cosmic existence. Astel is described as a malformed star, naturalborn of the void, composed of many-colored star debris from the lightless spaces far from any world. While we cannot say for certain if it was deliberately created as a weapon, the evidence strongly suggests it served this purpose specifically, bringing devastation to the Nox civilization that dared to challenge cosmic authority by attempting to create their own stellar deity. The creature fulfilled this purpose with terrible efficiency. The Nameless Eternal City was devastated, its sky torn away, its population scattered or destroyed. The punishment was absolute, serving as a warning that echoed through millennia. Challenge the cosmic order at your utmost peril. But Astel's story didn't end with that ancient destruction. The entity remained, settling into the depths beneath the lake of rot, becoming guardian of forbidden paths and obstacle to cosmic ascension. Its presence transformed from active destroyer to passive barrier, but no less significant for that change. When the Tarnished encounters Astel, they're facing not just a powerful enemy, but a living monument to cosmic judgment. Every swing of those human-like hands, every pulse of those stellar orbs, every gravitational manipulation echoes the forces that destroyed an entire civilization for reaching too far toward the stars. Yet the creature can be defeated. Despite its terrible power, Astel is not invincible. Through skill, determination, and proper preparation, a mortal warrior can overcome this cosmic force. This victory represents more than personal achievement. It demonstrates that cosmic authority is not absolute, that terrestrial life possesses qualities that can contend with stellar might. The weapons crafted from Astels remains complete, a remarkable transformation. The power that once served cosmic oppression becomes a tool for terrestrial empowerment. The stellar debris that comprised a weapon of destruction is recycled into instruments that serve mortal purposes. The agent of cosmic judgment becomes a source of cosmic capability for those who proved their worth by overcoming it. This transformation from weapon to wisdom, from destroyer to teacher, through the lessons its defeat provides, represents perhaps Astel's greatest legacy. The creature that was born to crush cosmic ambition becomes, through its defeat, an enabler of cosmic ascension. Ranni's successful establishment of the Age of Stars, made possible by overcoming Astel, represents the ultimate vindication of this transformation. The malformed star that appeared to punish stellar rebellion becomes the final test for successful stellar transformation. What may have been meant to preserve cosmic order instead enables its evolution into new forms. The broader implications extend far beyond any single ending or questline. Astel's story teaches fundamental lessons about how different forms of consciousness can interact, how cosmic forces can be understood and engaged with, how apparently insurmountable obstacles can be overcome through proper approach. The Nox learned these lessons too late, destroyed by their own hubris and insufficient understanding. Their ruins stand as testament to the dangers of approaching cosmic forces without proper wisdom. But their knowledge survived, preserved in artifacts like the Fingerslayer Blade, available to those who would learn from their mistakes rather than repeat them. Radahn understood cosmic threats and devoted his power to defending against them. His gravitational mastery, learned from cosmic entities and turned against cosmic invasion, demonstrates how stellar knowledge can serve terrestrial interests. Though ultimately defeated, his cosmic vigil bought time for others to prepare and develop their own cosmic capabilities. The Alabaster and Onyx Lords who chose integration over isolation or domination represent perhaps the wisest approach to cosmic interaction. By sharing knowledge while learning from terrestrial perspectives, they built genuine bridges between different forms of consciousness. Their students, like Radahn, carried cosmic understanding into terrestrial contexts in ways that enriched both. And the Tarnished, through their journey to and through Astel's domain, completed their own cosmic education. The trials faced, the corruption endured, the descent beyond mapped reality, and the final confrontation with cosmic power all served to transform a mortal warrior into something capable of participating in cosmic decisions. The victory over Astel was not the end of this transformation, but a crucial milestone. Proof of cosmic worthiness, demonstration of ability to contend with stellar forces, authorization, through successful completion of trials, to access realms and powers previously forbidden. In the vast cosmic dance that shapes reality across dimensions and eons, Astel's story represents a crucial movement. The transformation of cosmic conflict into cosmic cooperation, of stellar weapons into stellar wisdom, of forces meant to divide into bridges that connect. The creature born in lightless void, which brought devastation to those who reached for the stars, becomes through the mysterious alchemy of defeat and transcendence, something that enables cosmic transformation. Its power, which once may have enforced cosmic boundaries, is now available to those who would cross those boundaries with proper preparation and understanding. The malformed star that fell like judgment from the heavens has found its final purpose, not in the destruction it was created for, but in the wisdom its existence and defeat provide. Astel's greatest gift to the cosmos is the lesson that even the most overwhelming forces can be understood, engaged with, and ultimately transformed through determination and wisdom. In the depths beneath the lake of rot, the space where Astel dwelled for uncounted years now stands empty. But the silence there is not the silence of death. It's the silence of possibility. In that transformed space, where cosmic and terrestrial forces once clashed in violent opposition, new forms of cosmic understanding can yet emerge. The stellar orbs that once pulsed with destructive power have been crafted into weapons that serve mortal hands. The gravitational forces that once leveled cities can now be channeled through glintstone sorceries studied at academies. The knowledge embedded in Astel's very structure, gained through eons of existence, is now available to those who proved their worth by overcoming it. And perhaps in that transformed future that awaits beyond Astel's defeat, there will be a place for entities like Astel beings that are neither purely cosmic nor purely terrestrial, but something new and wonderful that transcends the limitations of both. The malformed star that once brought only darkness may yet find redemption in the new cosmic order its defeat helped create. The age of stars that Ranni establishes, made possible by overcoming the very weapon that destroyed the last attempt at stellar ascension, represents hope for genuine cosmic integration, a reality where different forms of consciousness can coexist, where terrestrial and stellar existence enrich each other rather than conflicting, where the gulf between ground and stars narrows until passage between them becomes natural rather than violent. Astel's legacy is complex and multifaceted. Destroyer of civilizations and guardian of forbidden paths, weapon of cosmic oppression and teacher of cosmic wisdom, agent of divine judgment and enabler of cosmic transformation. All of these and more, depending on perspective and context. But perhaps the most important legacy is simply this: proof that cosmic challenges are not insurmountable. The stars, for all their vastness and power, are not beyond mortal reach. The forces that govern reality from beyond terrestrial perception can be understood, engaged with, and even overcome when approached with proper wisdom and determination. Every person who journeys to the depths beneath the lake of rot, who endures the trials required to reach Astel's domain, who faces this cosmic force in combat, and emerges victorious, each adds to this legacy. Each proves again that terrestrial life possesses qualities that can contend with stellar might. The weapons wielded, the sorceries cast, the strategies employed all represent accumulated wisdom about how to engage with cosmic forces. This knowledge builds with each encounter, creating an ever-expanding foundation of understanding that future cosmic explorers can draw upon. And so the cycle continues. Stars fall from the void between worlds. Cosmic entities arrive in the lands between. Some integrate peacefully, like the Alabaster Lords. Others remain alien and dangerous, like Astel. And terrestrial life adapts, learns, grows in response to each cosmic encounter. The story of Astel, Naturalborn of the Void, is ultimately a story of transformation and hope. From the lightless spaces where it was born to the depths where it dwells to the final confrontation and defeat, the creature's journey mirrors our own journey toward understanding forces that exist beyond comfortable comprehension. As you drift into the deepest rest, Let Astel's story carry you into dreams touched by cosmic wonder. Imagine stellar orbs pulsing with many-colored light. Picture vast caverns where reality thins and the stars beyond become visible. Feel the weight of cosmic forces made manifest in physical form. And know that even these vast powers, these terrible weapons, these incomprehensible entities from beyond the stars, even these can be understood, can be engaged with, can be overcome, and transformed into something new. The malformed star has fallen. Astel has been defeated, and from its stellar debris, new possibilities emerge. The Age of Stars awaits, made possible by learning the lessons written in ancient ruins and cosmic battles. The cosmos itself is not our enemy but our classroom, teaching through both wonder and terror the fundamental nature of existence across all scales. Rest now in this understanding. Let cosmic mysteries cradle you in comfort rather than fear. The stars watch, but they are not all weapons. Some are guides, some are teachers. Some are simply distant lights illuminating the vast darkness, showing us that even in the lightless void between worlds, beauty and meaning can be found. The story of Astel, Naturalborn of the Void, ends not in darkness but in transformation, and perhaps that is the deepest wisdom, that endings are never absolute, that what falls can rise again in new form, that cosmic judgment can become cosmic grace through the mysterious alchemy of determination, wisdom, and hope. Sleep well beneath the watchful stars.